What is up, Auburn family? Another weekend down, only 8 more to go to kickoff, baby. The Tigers pick up their first commitment on the defensive line in Malik Blockton, and we make predictions on what players we think will break out this fall for Hugh Freeze and the Auburn Tigers. All that and more up next on the Uptempo podcast.
You are now listening to the War Report Podcast Network.
Hey, man, another Monday. What is up, Auburn family? I hope your week is off to a good start. Dustin Smith here, as always, Pensacola, Florida. Blake Lane joining y'all from the 251. Mr. Mobile, how you doing, brother?
What is up, Dustin? Glad to be here this morning, brother. A beautiful Monday. Hopefully everybody out there is having a fantastic day. Hopefully you had a fantastic weekend. I know here in Mobile, it was off and on, rain all weekend, but got to watch a great UFC card Saturday night. Love that. But, man, we're here to talk some football, Dustin, and there's some big things going down on the plains. Malik Blockton, of course, and we're here to talk some guys that we might think have some breakout years this year and put up some big numbers for the Auburn Tigers. I know we did a little Twitter fan engagement Sunday afternoon, and we got some interaction there. We're going to read some of those, what some of the fans think and all that stuff. So, man, just excited to be here. Glad to talk Auburn with you, brother.
Yes, sir. I was on the yesterday was on the weekend tailgate with the guys, man. Chopped it up with our War Report guys. So been recording all day, man. It's been a good day. And like you said, bro, just excited to get in here. I want to say thank you to all of our subs. Our last episode really popped off. We got like 40 subs off of it so far. So to all our new listeners, man, appreciate it. Like, saw all the positive comments, all the positive feedback. That's the kind of energy that we want to bring here at the Uptempo podcast, man. We are going to defend our Auburn Tigers. Not always going to call for that kind of energy in July, Blake. I felt like they were getting attacked, though, and I kind of had to step up and defend our old lady Auburn, if you will. Yeah. But I promise, man, when we get to that fall and the season gets popped off, that's the kind of juice that we're going to bring here, baby. We want to cover Auburn sports a little bit differently than you guys are used to, man. We're not scared to express our opinions here. So big thank you to everybody, man. Just keep subscribing, keep liking. We're happy to have y'all, man. We're happy for the growth, for real. It's a blessing.
Dustin, I know one thing with homefieldapparel.com, brother. I know they are a sponsor of this podcast, and we greatly appreciate them. Anything you want to shout out there before we dive into the football talk?
Yeah. Help us out, guys. Uptempo, all caps. Go in there and get your first purchase 15% off. They got everything. We've said it before. You don't have everybody in your family is not an Auburn fan. You got Arkansas fans. Like we said last week, apparently there's some Auburn fans that got a little piece of their heart. It's got some Razorback love. You got any LSU fans like I got in my family, man? Buy them the brand new national championship T-shirts. Give them their props as much as we hate it. But go on home field, man. They got a little bit of something for everybody. And hopefully they have some new Auburn stuff drop soon. And so I'm looking forward to everything we got going on with home field, man. It's a good, fun sponsorship. So go help us out.
Yeah, love it, Dustin. Glad to be a part of their team, right? So, Dustin, let's hop in here tonight and let's talk. Let's start with Malik Blockton.
Yeah,
right? Commits, man, 6'3", 270, DN, 4-star with Rivals. You know how all those sites work and everything. A couple of other sites have him as a 3-star. He's a 4-star in our book. That's what we're riding with, Dustin. But when you pop on the tape, Malik Blockton on, off the field, what do you see in this player?
Oh, high energy. Yes. The kid plays with a high motor, as they like to say, doesn't take a play off. I see versatility. I see a guy that can do a little bit of everything. And the guys that break down defensive line a lot better than I can, they say he can do all the different techniques. They say he can line up in every different position. He's a guy that you can really do some different things with. See right there, 6'3", 270, probably going to come in a little bit bigger than that, you would imagine. Obviously, everybody knows that his older brother, Marcus Harris. One thing that sticks out to me, Blake, is, like you said, 4-star. So of our 10 commitments, 8 of them are blue chips. And when you look at the threes like Bryce Cain, we know about Bryce Cain. We know that he's going to end up being a 4-star. So right now, Auburn, we're sitting at 48th. It's not about the quality. It's about the quantity. And we could go all day, but we've spoke ad nauseum. Everybody has about where the staff is starting behind the 8 ball. And to speak to that point, Malik Blockton had an interesting quote. He said that when Harsin was the coach, he said, I never even spoke to him. And when you go back to Ryan Williams right there from Saraland, right, we remember him saying, I was standing 5 feet away from him for 15 minutes, and he never said a word to me. So that's something to remember in this class, because Malik has an older brother on the team, so he can mend those roads. He can come in and say, "Hey, man, we have a new coach. That was the old staff," and he can work his magic there and get his brother back in the boat. A lot of these guys, there's nothing Hugh can do. The ship has sailed. The way that the previous staff treated them, they're just not going to listen to Auburn, and there's nothing that Hugh Freeze can do about that. So that's something to remember, because I think this class has a ceiling. I think it's probably not going to go up above 10th, 8th. That's probably where it'll cap out as far as the national rankings go. And I just want everybody to try to remember, like, a lot of that is where we're starting. And something, too, that I was thinking about today was that, for the past 3 or 4 years, the people that are recruiting against Auburn, one thing they've been able to use, because you think about Gus's last bit of his tenure, and then Harston was never on stable ground. They've been able to go to recruits now for, I would argue, 4 years and say, Auburn doesn't know who their head coach is going to be next year. This is the first time in a long time where we can sell, hey, there's a future here. There's a plan. So we're just kind of behind the 8 ball. And that's why you get to the middle of July, which at this point is late in the recruiting cycle, the way it works now. And you're just now getting your first defensive line commitment. But I do think that this kid is a talented kid, a good kid, Blake, a kid that's got all his stuff together. He is a team captain, voted a team captain. He's very high GPA. He's into his academics. Marcus Harris obviously got that big brother influence. He comes from a good family. And that's something that I've noticed with the 10 kids in this class. I said this on the weekend tailgate with the guys. I think that you have, of the 10 guys right now, you have 2 future team captains in Walker White and now Malik Blockton. High character guys. And I think that that's important, because when you have all these stranglers, when you have all these different guys from different regimes, or all these guys coming in from the portal that, hey, man, I've got my 1 or 2 years, and everyone's got their own agenda. They're trying to get their NIL. There's just so many different things. It's gonna take Hugh some time. Let's be clear about this. And it's probably not fixed right now. The culture at Auburn has been toxic for a long time. In the locker room, in the facility, there's been late for meetings, all this kind of stuff, all the stuff you hear. I promise you, it's real. It's been real for a while, and it's poisoned. And Hugh can't just come in and snap his fingers and change it. But the way you start to change it is we're adding high character kids that you can trust to be at practice on time, that to be at workouts on time, and to make sure that their teammates are doing that as well, like Malik Blockton. So that, to me, is the part that I'm really excited about Malik Blockton, is because when we hear some of the things coming out of that facility and what's going on right now on the Plains, we need high character guys, man, that are just going to do the right things. And that's not and he's a player too. He's a 4-star. So it's another blue chip. Very, very excited about this kid, man, what he brings on and off the field.
Dustin, the first thing that popped out to me when I flipped on the highlight reel is the use of his hands. The first step, the way he can lay the wood, man, an elite tackler. I saw a dude. All right, I saw a player, and everything that you told me with off the field, it just, the light bulb went off, right? And I was like, man, this guy right here, all right, this is a stud. This is a guy that this class could build around, right? So I think this was a huge get for Auburn. I think you get a guy close to home, right here at Pike Road, Alabama, right? Pike Road High School. We know how much talent is coming out of that school, has come out of that school. It's loaded. I mean, and it's refreshing for Auburn to get a guy close to home after, especially just what happened with Cam Coleman and everything. But, you had a Quinshon Judkins that didn't even get recruited out of that school. And now he's at Ole Miss, and he's one of the best running backs in the SEC. So that's tough. But you get a Malik Blockton, and I think that's big. I think it's a breath of fresh air for Auburn to land this kid right here. One thing
tackles he had?
How many is that?
He had 109 tackles as a defensive end. Pretty damn impressive. 37 for loss with 12 sacks.
That's the thing I was just about to say, bro. I was like, he lived in the backfield when I watched the highlight tape. He was living in the backfield. I mean, God, he was wrecking plays, bro. He popped on tape. So this is a big get. And one thing I do want to ask you is I feel like people started kind of making things close with Texas. And I was listening to him, and I believe it was Jason Caldwell yesterday. And Jason Caldwell, it was a clip that he put on Twitter Sunday morning. And he said, how close did it get with Texas? Or when did you know it was Auburn? And Malik said, I really always knew it was Auburn. He said, Texas made a hard push, but the entire time it was Auburn. How do you feel about that, Dustin? Just to know that the media kind of made it sound like he might flip to Texas. And when all the crystal balls and the decisions were coming in on Auburn, that, you know, he stuck with Auburn. How does that make you feel?
I think that the people that cover Auburn recruiting right now are just trying to be extra careful. They've had a rough week, man. They've had a rough week, and we spoke on it. This isn't shade at them. We think it's the toughest job in college football media. Is trying to cover what 16 and 17-year-old kids are thinking. They look you in the face and tell you something. You got to roll with it, and then they turn around and do something else. So. But yeah, that's I think that's probably what a lot of that is. And I think Texas was making a hard push, and they're recruiting so well right now that you have to respect it. You really do.
Yeah.
So that and speaks to Jeremy Garrett, and that was Jeremy Garrett offered him when he was at Liberty. So they've been on Malik, having that relationship for a long time, and multiple staffs have been on Malik. Finally, this staff showed him the appropriate love, and now he's in the boat. So, and they do, like you mentioned, they're pumping out talent over there.
Yes.
They're pumping out talent. And you don't want to see, like you just saw a kid from there last year, balling all over you at Ole Miss. You can't let another one slip away. You got to get these kids. High 4A school in Alabama, they play big-time ball. So, yeah, man, there's really not a whole lot not to like about it. I don't think he'll play right away. He's got some things to clean up, you know. But listen, dude, this is a guy that you can build your defense around. And I think that Texas was making they were probably making a legitimate push, and he has to make sure, because if it's one of those things where his heart's always been with Auburn, and then his brother's playing for Auburn, and he lives in Alabama, he's right up the road, and all that kind of stuff. It probably was a smart thing for him to take a step back and say, "Hey, listen, I'm so close to Auburn. Let me make sure I'm making the right decision, and I'm not just getting caught in all the hometown love, and I'm not just getting caught up in, hey, my brother goes here and getting influenced. Let me make sure I'm making the right decision for Malik." So I'm sure that he probably did step back, hear Texas out. Like I said, Sark is recruiting his ass off over there. They're doing a good job recruiting. So I'm sure that they had a good pitch. And if I know anything about Texas, the NIL offer was probably pretty nice too. So I'm pretty sure that On to Victory had to do their thing here as well. So shout out to those guys.
Love that. Dustin, do you think this brings a lot more positivity and an upward trajectory for this defensive front in this recruiting class?
Yeah, I think we had a good week. And I know that DJ is a linebacker. He's not a part of the up front. But, yeah, you've got to start. I mean, you couldn't go much longer without adding players to the line of scrimmage. Mm-hmm. And I said that on Twitter Saturday morning and I felt good about it, but still the stuff about Texas and we've seen some battles here. I'm still kind of scarred from Khalil House. So I put out a simple tweet today saying, hey, listen, with 0 players on the line of scrimmage, and like, for instance, Georgia already has like a dozen or something, whatever they've got going on over there. And it's time for Auburn to start adding some, right? And I had some replies where people were like, chill out, bro. Chill out. Hey, who's freaking out? Who's freaking out? If you sat down with Hugh Freeze and asked him, I guarantee you he would say, yeah, we've missed on some guys on the line. Like, yeah, we're trying to do that. So yeah, it's important. And when the 2 guys you got this week, high IQ, know how to play football, instincts. Like the top thing I hear about both these kids we added this week is instincts. They know how to play football. You're adding smart players that know where to be and know the right thing to do. It won't take them long to pick up the system. When I look at the kids above the shoulders and the kind of kids that Hugh Freeze is recruiting, I see the strategy. I don't want guys on 3rd and 4 that are going to jump off sides and give them an automatic first down. He wants the guys that are smart, disciplined, good in the classroom, good on and off the field. And it sounds corny, but it adds up, man. It adds up to like what you put on the field on Saturday is built by what you do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, in June, July, August, all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
So, and so your question, yes, we've got to start adding these guys with the got to start getting guys up front with Big Cat Weekend coming at the end of the month. I think that 2 commitments this week is good momentum. There's a couple of guys that they're saying might pop for us in the next week or two, and we're on commitment watch for some guys. So that puts us at 10. If we can get 1 or 2 before Big Cat and get to 12, and then maybe get 2 or 3 more out of Big Cat, you're looking at 13, 15 commitments or so going into August. I think that considering everything for where this program has started, how far back we were in recruiting, you look at where we started. Last year we started with 2 to 3 commitments when the freaking season started.
Yeah.
We're looking at most likely going to be around 15 starting at kickoff. I think that we are in a very good spot, and I know that people look at that 48th and they worry. That's going to be okay. There's going to be a point where we're going to take some 3 stars to fill out the class. I remember last year, Arkansas was so high for so long in recruiting. I believe it was Arkansas, but it was because they had like 14 3 stars committed before the season starts.
Yeah.
And then over time, people start adding their blue chips, and you see Arkansas steady. I mean, I don't think Alabama's in the top 15 right now in recruiting. Like, you know, it's not going to finish that way for them. So there's still plenty of time. I like the quality of the guys that we're adding, man. So, but this is a big month. Make no mistake about it now. In recruiting, because a lot of people want to poo-poo it when you miss on a Khalil House, and they want to say, oh, well, there's still time. There is still time. And it's not time to hit the panic button. But this is the heart of recruiting season. This is it. So you got to be in the mix, man. You got to be in the mix, and you cannot roll into a season like you did last year with only a handful of commitments. So we got to start getting the ball rolling, and this is a good way to do that as far as players up there on the line of scrimmage. And Hugh talked about it. Hugh said it when he took the job, and Hugh knows that's where you win in this league. Offensive line, defensive line. Because for all you talk about how good that secondary is, it ain't doing nothing if you ain't getting pressure on the passer. And for all we talk about with Peyton Thorne and receivers and blah, 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 they're not doing nothing if the quarterbacks don't have time to throw. So very, very important month for us to add guys on both sides of the line. This is a good start.
Well, Dustin, speaking of wins in this league, man, who do you think can have a breakout season for the Auburn Tigers in 2023, my dude?
Let's start on offense, Blake.
Let's do it.
Let's start on offense. And I like your answers on this a lot. You just gave them before we started. I'll give my guys first, man. But yours are really, really interesting. But I'm going to go with Javarius Johnson, VAR, and Jeremiah Wright. Here's the thing with Jeremiah. This guy's a team guy.
Yes.
Defensive line, offensive line, defensive line, offensive line. Wherever y'all want me to play, I'll go. And then finally, we see last year, he finally gets a shot versus Ole Miss to start. And he was one of the bright spots for the remainder of the season. When we watched this just dead performances week after week, you finally saw a guy that had juice. You finally see a guy that you have to turn down a little bit. And I love that. Everybody loves that. Jeremiah was physical, man. He plays with attitude. I really, really love the way that Jeremiah plays. I want to see a guy that has withstood all the BS that he's had to go through at Auburn. This is a guy, man, that should have transferred.
Yep.
Jeremiah had every right to stand up and say, y'all don't even know where to use me. He had every right, Blake, at the end of this season, because he put on 4 games at the end of the year of good tape. So he had every right to say, here's my tape of me playing good offensive line in the SEC. This is what happened when you finally put me at a good position. Let me go get an NIL check somewhere. Because make no mistake about it, if Jeremiah Wright would have hit the portal, offensive linemen are everybody needs linemen.
Yep.
He would have got a check. He would have got a starting spot at a Power 5 school, probably one in the SEC if he really wanted to. So for him to stay loyal through everything that he's had to stay loyal through, one, I believe in his talent. I believe in his ability. I believe that Jake Thornton is a good offensive line coach. We saw that last year with Ole Miss. So I feel like with all of Jeremiah's raw ability, he's finally going through an entire offseason where he knows what his role is. He knows I'm the guard. I'm an offensive guard. I know where I'm going to be playing. And I think that for him, that is crucial. I think that Coach Thornton can teach him the right techniques, get all that little stuff honed in, and get him where he needs to be. I think you're going to have a big year from Jeremiah Wright, maybe even like a second team all SEC. I think that he is. I think he's that talented, man. He just needs to be in the right position. And I want to see a kid that has rode with us through all the storm, that didn't transfer and talk trash and all that kind of stuff that we're going through right now. I got to stay loyal, brother. I got to stay loyal. I want to see him pop. And then my guy VAR, listen, total on his career, VAR has 45 receptions, 670 yards. Okay, I'm going to say that this year, and we've talked about this, we think it's going to be scattered about. And last year, VAR had 400. I didn't write it down. I think he had 493 yards.
Mm-hmm.
So this year, I'm going to say that VAR gets right there at his career total. I think he's going to have. I think he's going to have 6 touchdowns and around 650 to 700 yards. I think that the receivers are going to. It's just going to be spread out. There's not going to be one guy. But I think that we've seen over VAR's career, when given the opportunity, he can make plays. He's a playmaker. He led the team last year. It didn't mean much, but he led the team last year in receptions or in receiving yards and touchdown receptions. And I just think that he hasn't been put in a position. This kid is explosive and he can make plays. And if I've got guys like Shorter and Camden Brown or Hook, if I've got all these big guys, Rivaldo. Right. Yeah. Rivaldo Fairweather, right? Yeah. I've got all these big guys that the defense is focused on. And then I've got this cat in the slot. Make no mistakes about it. Everybody focuses on Hugh Freeze and big receivers, but Hugh knows how to use a guy like VAR, 5'10", 170 pounds. I don't think, like I said, 650 to 700 yards, 5-6 touchdowns. I know that that's not a world beating. I know that's not record breaking, but one for Auburn, it would be one of our better seasons in a while receiving. And 2, I think there's going to be a couple of guys. I think Cam's going to have numbers similar to that. I think Rivaldo is going to have numbers similar to that. There'll be maybe it is Shorter, maybe it is Hook, but there'll be another receiver that has numbers similar to that. I think that what's going to set VAR apart is I think that VAR has the ability to make that breakout play that I've been talking about. When we're in that close game and it's, hey, this should have been a gain of 20. VAR's that guy that can take that should have been gain of 20 and turn that into that 50-yard touchdown. He's got that breakaway playmaking ability. And I think with all the right pieces around him, he will know how to utilize him. So is he going to be this crazy blow the stats out of this world? No. But mark my words, VAR will be a guy this year that you can depend on to make big plays and big moments. His yards per reception this year will be through the roof.
Well, Dustin, I'm going to stay on this offensive side. And the reason I like these 2 guys that you see right here at the bottom of the screen.
Very interesting.
And the reason I come to this conclusion right here is because Auburn fans, they don't know what is going on with Jarquez Hunter right now. So you have a question mark at running back 2. And you have 2 guys right here in the thick of things. One guy, let's start with Damari Alston. I feel like he thinks he has a chip on his shoulder because he thought he was going to be the clear number 2. Hugh comes in and says, hey, Brian Petit, come here, get you out of the transfer portal. Had great numbers at South Florida and gets him to come in. And Damari says, hold up now. I was that dude. All right. I was number 2. And then Brian Petit says, well, I'm going to be number 2. All right. Well, with everything that has happened in the Jarquez Hunter saga or whatever you want to call it, you have a battle on your hands. Who knows? Nobody knows what is going on with that. Nobody knows how much time he's going to have to sit out. So you're going to have 2 guys that are going to get a bigger load than what they're used to, and speaking more of that in Damari's case, because I know Brian Petit, he carried a big load at South Florida, but that isn't the SEC and it's a different league down there. So
different league to be running the ball in for sure.
Yeah. So I want to see who can elevate their game. I know I did a film breakdown on Damari, and bro threw a little chip block, bro. That I said, hey, this dude, like he's got something, and we just ain't seen it yet, and I really want to see him eat. I think Damari, I think he can do it all, man. I think he can catch it out of the backfield. I think he can run in between the tackles. I think he can hit the outside. I think he is a complete back, and I'm interested to see if he can take this running back 2 job from Brian Petit. Now I know Brian Petit is smaller stature, I know he's going to be used in the passing game a lot. Just get the ball out to him in space, let him work. But don't sleep on Damari, man. And I think whoever wins this battle while Jarquez is out, when Jarquez comes back, I think this guy could be really, really effective later in the games. If Jarquez, like in that third quarter when Jarquez has got to have that break, you got to try to save him for that fourth, Dustin. You throw a Damari Alston in there and let him eat. I think he can get it done. I'm high on Damari. I am. I also like Batee, but I like Damari as I want to see him as that complete back, man. I want to see him do it all. Pass protection, everything, stepping up in that hole, man, and delivering that blow to keep Peyton Thorne upright and being able to make a big time throw. I want to see him do those things and elevate his game this year. And that's why I'm really leaning towards Damari to show this coaching staff that, he is him. He's a dude. All right. Don't come in and knock him just yet. So I like Damari.
I hear you. The interesting thing about this is, so if you just look at like the past 2 years, you with Tank obviously was a running back one, but then you quickly found out into Jarquez's freshman year. I mean, you found out like week one, like, this is a guy that we can depend on to be running back two. What do you have? 600 something yards last year. And Tank was right there around 1,000, with like 970 somewhere in there. But it's really important. Like RB2 in the SEC is really important.
Yes.
You mentioned the suspension or what we think there's going to be. We're guessing there's going to be a couple of games. We don't know that. We're speculating.
Well, what about in 21 when Tank got hurt?
Right. Yeah. You're one play away, man. And even if you're not, let's say Jarquez plays every game, he's healthy, no suspension, nothing. Running back two is still super important. You're still going to need a guy that's going to have to get you like 500 yards at the running back two spot. So who's it going to be? Because everybody says, hey, Batee's kind of slept on. And I feel like Batee kind of gets wrote off because it's like, yeah, you did that at South Florida, but brother, you're 5'8" and you're too small for the SEC and blah, blah, blah. So for one, that's exciting because he hears that and he's going to have a chip on his shoulder. And then two, like you said, man, like Damari's like, hey, have I been forgotten here? That one of you come in as a new staff and you go get this guy. And I've been committed to this university through coaching change. I've been recruiting for you since I was a prospect. And now that I'm on your team, I'm still an active recruiter for you. I've done everything for you. And you just get me over. Yeah, this is going to be a very fun battle to watch. It'll be fun to see if Jarquez doesn't play week 1 and week 2. I'll be very interested to see who starts week 1 at running back.
And Dustin, hopefully they complement each other. Hopefully they feed off each other.
Right.
And so then when Jarquez does come back, you got a 3-headed monster, right? And I just think this running back room, and even you got Jackson back there who could go in for short yardage and get a yard, right? So don't write him off.
He definitely has a style that is much different than the other guys. That it's like I can see where there's a role for him.
Yes, especially, man, you get down on the goal line and you bring in a jumbo package and you hand that thing off to that bruiser, I mean, there could be, 2, 3, 4 touchdowns in his year this year. And maybe you get to a 4th and 1, you need to pick up a yard, you turn around and hand it to him. So this running back room is so deep, but I want to see these two guys battle it out, man. And that is why I picked these two guys. I'm excited for these two guys. And I think this running back room is going to be loaded. And when Jarquez, when he comes back, whenever that is, hopefully it's the first game, whatever. I want to see these three dudes at the top here. I want to see them eat, and I want to see them feed off each other, and I want to see them complement each other, Dustin.
And then let's say that we get into week 1 of fall camp, and they start having reports come out that boy Jeremiah Cobb for real, because we've seen it. Michael Dyer stepped right in as a freshman. Okay. Yeah. Our running back is one of the positions where you can step in and you can get it done pretty quick. If you've got it, if the system is set up for you. Like I said, Michael Dyer came in 18 years old. helped us win a national championship.
Knee never hit the ground. I mean,
did not hit the ground.
Did not hit the ground.
So yeah, and that'll be and say that say Jarquez gets a couple games. Then it's Jeremiah the third. Let's say Jeremiah's your third, and he looks good in his reps. And I love the rule of a guy can get 4 games and not have to burn his red shirt. That's just one of my favorite things that the NCAA has done. So you're going to see Jeremiah either way. But if let's say Jarquez gets 2 games, then it's like, okay, if Jeremiah's a 3, he's probably going to get some run. And that'll just be fun to watch, man. And he's a hell of a player. He's a hell of a player. So it's like,
insane.
Yeah, our running back room is going to be stupid. And we've said this before, and we're going to do an episode coming up soon where we rank position groups. I don't think there's any debate about what room will be 1 and 2. It's going to be DB and running back. And this isn't hard to understand because through everything Auburn's been through over the past couple of years, who are the 2 cats holding those rooms down? 2 guys that love Auburn. So that's why you have those rooms as deep as you have them, because you've got guys that know what they're doing. Cadillac Williams knows what he's doing. Probably going to be a head coach. I mean, after last year, he's going to get a gig somewhere. Zach Etheridge going to be a DC really soon. There's a reason why those rooms are as deep as they are.
Man, hearing that Cadillac going to be a head coach somewhere. Oh man, I hate that. You know, I don't like hearing it because I want him to be the next head coach at Auburn University, right?
Yeah, but I don't want it to be his first gig.
Yeah, and the reason I say it hurts, Dustin, is because Cuz has been hammering running backs in this state, right? He's been getting his guys, and like you mentioned, Jeremiah Cobb, and hopefully we got one on the way coming up, but as far as Zach, man, you know, I 100% agree. Like you mentioned on last episode, everything with him and just his love for Auburn University. And I know he wants to go be a DC somewhere, but I want these guys back. I want them to return back one day to Auburn University. And, you know, maybe after Hugh Freeze does his, 10 years at Auburn or whatever, however long he's here, and Cadillac steps back in and brings the boys back in and says, hey, let's ride out. I mean, how special would that be for Cadillac to go undefeated in 2004, win a Sugar Bowl against a damn good Virginia Tech team, get nudged out of the BCS National Championship off of some idiotic computers and voting and whatever the BCS was, how cool would it be for him to come back? I know this is off topic and everything, but how cool would it be for him to come back and win a national championship at Auburn as a head coach? I look at that down the road in the future, and I really stick to that, Dustin, because I always say that what he did last year, it will pay off in the future. What he did, the job that he did, and the words that were said coming out of that tunnel. And he said, these kids just need to be loved on, man. And I think all of that will eventually pay off later in his career at Auburn University. And I hope and I pray that he gets his shot somewhere else. And I hope he gets to return to Auburn and be the head coach for Auburn. So
I hope you're speaking it into existence, because that sounds like barn utopia. Okay.
I just want it to happen, and it might be a hot take. It might be a super hot take, but whatever, I watched him growing up as a teenager, and me and you were pretty much the same age. I mean, he was our, Michael Jordan of Auburn football. We didn't get to experience Bo Jackson. We're not old enough to remember. All I have of Bo is when they would play ESPN Classic games, or my dad would sit down and tell me, hey, Bo Jackson, the greatest athlete of all time. By the way, I sent my dad that big game boomer list. And
what a fan was he?
Yeah, my dad was like, dude, what? First text, bro. First text. My dad said, where's Bo Jackson? And I said, I don't know. My dad was like, hey, I'm a huge Michael Jordan fan. He was like, but Bo Jackson, 10 times better athlete. All right. Dude would have been Hall of Fame in both sports, right, Dustin?
Yes, sir.
I mean, come on now. Greatest athlete of all time. But yeah, man, going back to the Cadillac stuff, I sorry to get off topic, but I had to throw that out there. I'm a huge Cadillac guy, and I would love to see that in the near future whenever Hugh is done at Auburn or whatever.
Yeah, no, Cadillac is he's our generation's Bo Jackson. I mean, we saw that. You saw what he meant to the Auburn family.
Yeah.
Getting over here to the defense, bro. I'm gonna let you go first with your breakout guys. I like your takes here too as well. A newcomer and Larry Nixon and K.N. Lee. Why these guys, man?
I went with Larry Nixon the third at the linebacker spot because we needed linebackers, right? And you have a high motor guy that comes in with a lot of experience, a great tackler, can play sideline to sideline, can fill a gap, brother. And that is one thing that when I watch him at North Texas, he doesn't take himself out of the play. He's in every play. He lives in the backfield. He's got great instincts for the football. And he's just a headhunter, man. And he wraps up, makes tackles, and he gets it done. And that is one thing where everybody doubts Auburn on the run this year, right? And they say, oh, well, Auburn, they're not going to be able to stop the run. They're not going to be able to stop the run. But now you have Austin Keys and Larry Nixon the third at the linebacker spot in this Ron Roberts defense, who likes to put pressure on the offense, and he wants to play close to the line of scrimmage, and he wants to fly around and make plays and force that offense into coughing the ball up and everything, right? So I went with Larry Nixon because I think he is going to be a big-time playmaker at linebacker this year. And I think he helped this room tremendously, not only on the field, I think he helped it off the field. This is a dude that has played over 40 games, right? This is a guy that can play, man, and he was all conference out there at North Texas, and the biggest thing is that he knows how to wrap up and tackle.
Do you think he leads the team in tackles, Blake?
I think it's a damn good possibility, brother, because you flip on that film, that is one of the things that just immediately popped is how he was in every play. He was either assisting or it was a solo. I mean, I think he had 105 tackles last year. So
tackling machine, boy.
Tackling machine, brother. And that is exactly
what Bobby Boucher say, tackling a few.
Tackling a few, that mama to football the devil. All right. But we know Vicky Valancourt really carried that movie. But oh, the old lawnmower, man, Vicky Valancourt. But yeah, so
he was a baddie.
Man, what a movie.
I need alligator with her.
Hey, freaking Bobby showed up at halftime and the Mud Dogs won the Bourbon Bowl. But K.N. Lee, man's my other one out there at DB, the cornerback position. Already fighting Nehemiah for maybe a starting role. That they said that there was some rumors out there that he was a playmaker, man, a ball hawk. And that is one thing with K.N. is it's all in the hips, man. And his hips are great. He stays in the hip pocket of the receiver. He uses the boundary as another defender. I thought that was really key when I watched him. This is a guy that was pretty much headed to Ohio State, right? And bang, here we go. He's at Auburn University. Anytime you can take a guy that was going to Ohio State and bring him to Auburn, I'm down with it. Now, one thing about K.N. is he's not the biggest corner, okay? He's only 5'11", like 180, but he makes it up with his footwork. That first step out of the break, really impressive, all right? And he's got a nose for the ball, man. I'm telling you, he's a guy that he's got great hands, soft hands for a DB, And I think he is going to be this year. I think he's going to make his way on the field this year, Dustin.
Yeah, for sure.
I really do. I think he's going to make his way on the field, and I think he's going to make an impact. I don't think he's just going to play. I think he's going to make an impact. You might see an early season pick, something that gets this defense really going. It might be against Cal week 2. He might step in there, especially in this Ron Roberts defense. It's going to allow these DBs to really get going back there. So that is my two guys, Larry Nixon, tackling machine, K.N. Lee, going to be a ball hawk back there.
Yeah, so I looked it up. Larry Nixon had 106 last year.
106. Okay.
Only 62 players in FCS or FBS had over 100 tackles last year. So you're getting a guy, a lot of experience, like you said, man, tackle machine. I like that one. And that was an interesting question to me. I was thinking about the other day was who's going to lead this team in tackles? Because the linebacker position to me is just so. I mean, Austin Keys, Tolan, Larry Nixon, you bring in all these guys. It's going to be fun, man. What does Cam Riley do in this?
Yeah.
In this new
we need him to pop, man. This is his year to kind of look. If you're going to do anything, bro, you got to come on with it. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. And then about Kayan, the thing that stands out to you about Kayan is that he was like day 3 of spring practice, and he was getting ripped for the 1.
Yep.
On the best position group on this team. Yep. Listen, I love JD. Now, me and you talked about football last year on our cell phones and only uploaded audio, so we only had like 25 people listening. But if you were one of the 25 people listening last year, you know I love me some JD Rim, dude. I love this kid. I really do. I think he's a player, but I think that Kayan came up and they might do a little bit of different things. They're a little bit of different players, but I think Kayan stepped right in and just said, hey, man, I'm going to play. And I think that JD – I almost put him on my list here, but I said it on the weekend tailgate with the guys too. I said, I think the JD's he's a season away. Now, if somebody gets hurt, he'll get a shot. But I think Kayan's stepping up and saying, I got to play right now.
So think about this. What about, I don't want to get too far off, but what about next year when they're opposite sides of each other? All right. You got JD on one side and you got Kayan on the other. Whew.
Our TV class that we just signed is stupid.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're gonna sit here.
You got Austin Osbury sitting back there. He ain't even got to play yet.
Yep, that true. Good point. I was super high on him as well. But you're losing Nehemiah. You're gonna lose DJ James. So
right,
those two guys, they're gonna have their moments. But I do think Kayan steps in this year and makes an impact.
He's a 3 and out. He's going to play. He's going to play just like Carlton Davis. You're going to see him starting every game by the end of his freshman year, 2 more years, and then I'm on to bigger things. And that's you beat Ohio State when Ohio State is what they are right now, and you are what they are right now. I mean, like we just said, dude, Zach Etheridge can freaking recruit. My guys right here, I'm going with 2 young guys and 2 shots in the dark here, but breakout players.
Yep.
And on Robert Woodyard, just kind of talking about it with the linebackers here. I think that he's going to be situational. Like, I don't think that Robert Woodyard is going to be in the game on 3rd and 8. I don't know what's he at here? he's 6'1", 235. So I don't know if he's going to be out there covering tight ends on 3rd and long. But I think that on 1st and 2nd down, man, I think that the kid is an absolute thumper. Coming out of high school, he was a fifth-rated linebacker in all the nation. He had 133 tackles and 12 tackles for loss his junior year, was on the way to a monster senior season where he would have cleared those numbers. And then he tore his ACL, took him some time to get back right, had a scholarship to Bama. Don't really know what went on there, whether they pulled it, whatever, but he ends up coming to Auburn. And for me, that's kind of one of the things I talked about it with Mike G the other day on our episode. You got it. These guys that you flip from Bama, let's hit on them. Hit on them. Make it hurt. Make them feel that one. Make them, when we play them this year, Robert Woodyard, make them feel it. Meet that dude in the A-gap and let him feel it and put your stamp on it. I think the kid is a very, very talented kid. There was good things about being said about him in practice by the end of the season last year. They were saying, hey, Robert Woodyard is thumping. He is thumping in practice. He's healthy. He's thumping. He's ready to go. And that's something that I love about him. And it's just that old school, physical, downhill linebacker type mindset. I think he is an older KJ Britt kind of guy. I think he's more athletic and all that, but just play style. Meet you, hit you, probably going to get some freaking targeting calls, and that's the nature of the beast right now. But we need these guys, man. We need guys that play with an attitude and make you feel it, because it's been a long time. It feels like it's been a long time since a team came into our stadium and felt the physicality of an Auburn defense. And we've got to get back to that. And whether his stats jump off the page, similar to what I talked about with VAR, whether his stats jump off, whether he has anything more than 60 tackles, I don't know. But I think that in the situations that we use him in, he's going to be very effective. And I think that he can make some big-time plays, because we've seen it on offense the last couple of years. How important is first down? Even if it's just 3 yards, you got to get to 2nd and 7.
Yeah.
You get out here in 2nd and 9, and then you throw an incompletion, and now you're in 3rd and 9. Well,
or a false start.
Hey, and then here you go, boy. Now you're in 3rd and a mile, and it's all kind of trouble.
Yeah.
That's the importance of first down. You got a guy like Robert Woodyard that'll meet you in that gap on first down and get that 1 yard tackle for loss or stop you for a gain of 2. And now you're in 2nd and 8, 2nd and 9. It's important, man. So whether he has this huge off the chart season as far as all SEC, no, but I think that in his role, he'll be effective. My other guy, Keldrick Falk, and I've already spoke on it, so I don't want to just go down this, keep talking about him every week, but it's just one of them things where it's just, like I said before, it's the depth on the defensive line. And I want to make this clear about Keldrick. It takes guys a minute. So, I don't think, our first 6 games, I don't think that you're going to see Keldrick Falk showing out versus A&M. If I would imagine, A&M will probably be he'll probably go, oh, shit. That'll be his first kind of big boy,
Yeah, it'll be his first taste of SEC ball.
Right. It's going to be his first taste of the real stuff, and he's going to be 18, 19 years old. Yep. I don't think that Keldrick's going to come out the gate hot just because of that position. It's hard for a defensive lineman as a freshman to just come out game 1 and be that dominant. But what I think is going to happen is I think that as the season goes, and once you get past that stretch of LSU and Georgia, you get into that Ole Miss, Mississippi State stretch, I think you're going to see that light switch slowly start to turn on. And then I think that, and I don't think he's going to start the season. I think it's going to be a couple weeks in the making, and he's going to start taking guys reps. And I think that by the time you crank up and you get to Arkansas, I think that Keldrick Falk is going to have it figured out. I think he's going to be a beast. Again, not going to jump off the stats. I don't think he's going to have any more than 6 to 7 sacks. But I think that by the end of the season, you're going to look at it and go, we got ourselves a freaking monster coming into next year. And I think that by the time that Bama rolls in to Jordan Hare, I think that he's going to be an absolute menace. It's going to take him a little bit of time to figure it out, but he is the most talented player on that defensive line as far as just pure talent. He's probably him and Kay and Lee, probably the two. And I know we've got DJ. Can't leave DJ out, but pure talent, just pure talent. Kay and Lee and Keldrick Falk are up there on this defense. So I just expect big things from Keldrick. I think that he's going to be one of the best defensive linemen that have come through Auburn in a very, very long time, Blake. You got another sleeper, man. You got anybody else that you're on the edge about?
I know there was some Twitter answers on there.
Yeah. That's what the fans say.
A lot of the fans were saying Rivaldo. Obviously, we're on that. We're big on Rivaldo. Let's see. We're going down through here. Rivaldo again. Justin Rogers. We've mentioned Justin Rogers. I know I've been high on Justin Rogers right there at the nose. Think he's going to do some great things this year. Alex McPherson. All right, that's one. I know our guys over at the College Loop, they're big on McPherson. I know Mike G. He is, lukewarm.
He's not.
Yeah. He said there's some things there. So, let's see. Peyton Thorne has come up. I look at the Peyton Thorne thing and I say, hey, in order for Auburn to win, he's got to be a breakout. He's got to be if Peyton Thorne is not what we think he is, if he doesn't come out as that Michigan State guy in his what was it, the 21 season, where he put up all those electric numbers. Look, if he's not that guy, we might be in trouble. All right, then you're immediately going to have a quarterback carousel. It's going to half your fan base is going to say Robbie. Half your fan base is going to say no, it's still Peyton. Right? We've been doing this. All right. we even did it when everybody was on the Bo Nix wagon. All right. Yeah. Everybody, then it turned into TJ Finley. TJ Finley should start this week in Baton Rouge.
And Davis was trying to get.
He can barely complete 6 passes at Alabama State. Hey, look, there was a reason why he didn't play. it's just the Auburn fan base has been through that. So I think Peyton Thorne kind of has to be
Right.
that guy. He has to be a breakout guy for the Auburn Tigers.
Yeah, Rivaldo was the most
yes,
commented on by the fans, and I think that's just
yeah.
everybody's expecting Hugh Freeze tight end. They want to see that production. They think that it speaks for itself. We agree with y'all on that for sure.
Yeah, and then the other one, obviously, DJ James. In my opinion, not really a breakout player. He broke out last year. The thing that we kind of wanted to take this from Jason is Jason Williamson, the fan who commented on the Twitter post yesterday, is Dustin. We kind of looked at him say DJ James, right? And we're looking at DJ James as like a second-round draft pick, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So can DJ elevate his game this year and potentially move into a first-round draft pick and join somebody like a Noah Igbinoghene or a Carlton Davis or the elite Auburn corners that we've had, Roger McCreary, 251 Mobile, Alabama, shout out. Can he do that with his game this year and potentially be a late first-round draft pick?
Oh, I definitely believe he can.
Yeah.
He's got all the potential in the world. It's going to be with DJ. It's going to be a couple of things, right? One, I gotta feel like Carlton Davis never got the love because no one ever threw it over there to him. When my Buccaneers drafted him, I was like, "Cool, we're getting a 10-year starter in the league." Like that's how good Carlton Davis is. And since he came into the Buccaneers, he started from day one and just got a big deal as his 5th year ran out. So it would have been his 4th year. He got his new contract. So it's one of the things where just, is he going to have the opportunity to make the big plays? I don't know. He might just be blanketing. I think he is, because I think that Ron Roberts' defense is going to create tip balls, create fumbles. I think he's going to have the opportunity to make big plays. I think that DJ is at least a top 40 pick. Top 40, top 45. If he doesn't get into that first round, there's no way he'll be there by the end of the second. And if so, it's funny. So you talk about his name, just Roger McCreary. You talk about Roger. So he actually met with the Buccaneers at what's the Mobile
Senior Bowl.
He met with him, and I was watching a Buccaneer podcast, and I was just in the comments, and I asked the guy. I said, "Hey, I know we met with Roger McCreary. What are you hearing about this?" Because this guy was in Mobile. He had been interviewing the Buccaneer staff and all that. And he said, basically just went on a 5-minute spew just shitting on Roger. His arms are too short. He's no good. Whoever drafts him has no idea what they're talking about. He's not going to be a good player in the NFL. Well, how'd that pan out? How'd that pan out? So right. So it's like, does DJ get, because I say that because like looking at these preseason lists, DJ's not where he's already not getting the love. Mm-hmm. Every time I see a preseason list about best returning DBs or something, he's not even on the list.
Yeah.
So will he be overlooked? I don't know. I mean, when these guys turn on the film, it's going to speak for itself. I can't imagine there's too many more corners that are better than him. So I'm going to say, man, and it also depends on what teams need. Like, what does the board look like? There's a lot of things that go into the draft. But I will say this, there's no way that DJ makes it out of the second round. And whether he goes in the first 32 will be close. But I definitely say he goes within the top 40, 100% on that.
Yeah.
In a big year, do some turnovers, we win some games. Yeah, first rounder.
Yeah, like we did that over-under thing with his picks, and I think it was a 3 or
2.5, and I went with 3.
We went with 3, yeah. So I think if he gets to that number, we know what he can do in coverage. I think he's definitely a second-round talent. Hopefully he can play his way into the first at the combine and things like that. But, yeah, I think there's a big year for him. But, yeah, man, it was fun doing that on Twitter with the fans yesterday. It was pretty dang cool. We got a lot of feedback. We appreciate each and every one of you that commented on the post. It's fun when we do that. And when we do the mailbag Mondays or the mailbag Wednesdays or whatever, look, get in here and drop it on Twitter. If you have a question for us, DMs are open. We will shout you out on the show. We will answer any type of DMs. Look, we're almost to 500 subs on this channel. We started this thing back, in baseball season? And
well, we started uploading to YouTube and really started trying to get the YouTube rolling about halfway through basketball.
yeah, halfway through.
About February-ish.
Yeah. So right there, halfway through basketball, and right there at the start of baseball, we've been doing it for a short period of time, almost to 500 subs. And once you get to that 500 subs, you get to hand out memberships and everything like that. You get elite content where me and Dustin will do our due diligence. We will break certain things down. We will offer things that you can sub to our channel, and we will have it ready for you. So my main thing is DMs are always open. We are here to answer any questions. We are here to get with you guys and have conversations. We want to interact with the fans, right, Dustin?
Yeah, 100%. Get in the comments. Let us know who you think is,
Yeah.
Who you think is going to break out. If you think that our takes are stupid, say it. It ain't gonna hurt my feelings. It's just ball. And but hey, man, like Blake said, we work really hard. There's a lot of stuff that goes on to do this. So when we have a video like Friday's episode where the feedback is so positive, it really means a lot, man. Because like Friday at my job was hell. Like it was a really bad day. I was out in 115-degree heat, covered in sweat, just pouring wet. It was terrible. And then I come home and I see all you guys, awesome comments, and it just means a lot to us, man, because we put in a lot of hard work. So get us to 500, tell your friends, man, share it out there, and just thank you. Like, for real, thank you from the bottom of our hearts. It means the world.
Dustin, you got a final thought for tonight?
Yeah, I do, man. I do. Pat Fitzgerald up at Northwestern. Brother, I got to talk to you, man. I got to talk to you. What y'all got going on? What's going on over there, bro?
Because, dry humping.
Yeah, because there's it's weird, it's weird as shit. What in the world? So I get out of practice and I'm in my shower and I'm getting surrounded by a bunch of dudes all of a sudden and I'm getting dry humped. Man, look, there's games, there's horseplay, and then there's going a little bit too far.
Yes.
And that right there is just a little bit too far. For one, like, you don't know what people's mental state is. So these, like, some of these kids, you just don't know what they got going on in their life.
Yep.
And then they have to deal with that. Like, and two, I'm sorry, call me old school, but I don't want my football team humping each other.
Yeah, bro. Like
that's really, you remember when LSU had their team bonding activity back at the bowl game? Yeah. Listen, that was strange, but at least there was one female where all the resources could be pointed to.
Yeah, man.
This right here is just what y'all sword fighting in there.
Did you hear the player was anonymous, right? But he come out and said he screenshotted a picture of a board or something in the middle of the locker room, and on the board it had names of the players who had to be hazed and everything, and then there was another list of names of players that had to be dry humped. Like, bro, what the like? What is that?
The fact that nobody stopped. And
you have to be fired.
Yeah, you gotta go. You gotta go, man.
Everybody.
Listen, I don't care. It's sexual assault.
Yes.
It's sexual assault. If I'm sending my child to your school and you're supposed to take care of my kid, and he calls me and says, man, they got a board, a list of people that got to get hazed. They hold us down and dry hump us. Like, yo, that's not cool, man. That's just not cool. That's not horseplay. That's not funny.
Exactly.
There's nothing about that that's cool, man. That's you, and you're gonna mess people up. Like, that's everything about that is off limits. It's not cool. I can't rock with it. He's got to go. You got to get them out of it. That's a toxic culture of a guy that just, like, you're so far gone from reality. The fact that you walk past that board and don't ever say to yourself, this is probably going too far. I probably need to shut this down. And then, like, I don't have their record in front of me, but I'm about to say, like, I know you're not winning a whole bunch of games like that. You probably need to, like, focus on some other stuff, because what you've got going on, like, it's like, for one, like, it is a serious situation that is it's inappropriate. But two, really, really weird. And, like, if I've got a team that is dry humping each other versus a team that's not dry humping each other on 3rd and 1 in the trenches, I like the team that's not dry humping each other.
Yeah, bro.
They might be a little bit tougher. Y'all got some other stuff that's kind of sideways going on.
Bro, and the thing is Pat Fitzgerald was always like Mr. Nice Guy. He was like pretty boy of college football, right? Like he was Mr. Lovable, you know? Everybody was like, oh, that's why he don't get fired. Even though they suck and they go 4-8 and 3-9, and every once in a while they go 9-3 or whatever, you know. That's why he didn't get fired, is because he played there and you know, he was Mr. College Football, you know, and for this to come out, bro, this shit, I mean, you had a board, a whiteboard in the middle of the locker room, bro. And like you said, you walked by that and you never looked at it and said, hey, bro, like, this is real Penn State vibe-ish. Like something about the Big Ten, bro, is what is in the water up there.
I don't know, but that's a good point too. It's like, you've got so many examples now, right? You've got so many examples of how this is inappropriate. And yes, the circumstances are different, like, but you have what went on at Penn State. You have what went on at Baylor. In the world that you live in now, why did you think this was okay?
Yes.
Why did you think that, like, you were gonna get away with this? And it's really interesting, the institution that it's at, because Northwestern is they pride themselves on being like a progressive and like a high academic institution that like has it. They pride themselves on their morals and the way they conduct themselves. And to see something like this crazy, this out of bounds, like I think back to when I was playing sports. If this was going on in a locker room that I was playing sports in, my parents would have lost their shit when they found out.
Yes.
Like, if I went to my mom or my dad and been like, hey, listen, like, I feel kind of weird because today at practice, I came into practice and then this right here happened, and I don't really know how to take it. They play it, and that's the part too about it that really would mess with your psyche as I sit here and think about it. They play it off like it's a game.
Yep.
And then you're sitting back later in your dorm or whatever, like, I don't think that was a game.
Yeah.
I feel violated, and I feel like some boundaries were crossed that shouldn't have been crossed. And then when you're in that culture all day, it's hard to go against your friends and all this kind of stuff. So it just seems like it's this whole, like, the whole culture is just super toxic. And if I can't trust the adults in charge to take care of these young men, then they gotta go. There's no place for this.
Absolutely. 100% agree. Last thing I'm going to say, Dustin, is when I was in college and I was playing baseball, bro, does everybody have hazing and the freshman stuff that goes on? Yes. Bro, you want to know what happened to us? Like, we would be taking a shower after practice, and one of the upperclassmen would take the fire extinguisher and like splash it. Like, hey, bang, you know, oh shit, like, that's CO2, it's cold as shit, you know, but like,
right.
Like, it wasn't anything where, like, you know, like this. I mean, or I don't know, man. Like, there was nothing ever that crazy, you know. I mean, there was some other stuff that I'm not gonna share on YouTube that was like super funny, but it was nothing ever like life threatening or that could mess with somebody's mental.
Yeah,
like. And insane, bro. Like, Pat Fitzgerald, like, being the pretty boy of college football and everything, and for you to go 1-11 last year or whatever he went. No, I think they beat. I think they beat Nebraska their first game and didn't win another game. So, like, you got to be fired. But I can't see you walking out. I can't see you running out the tunnel first game of the season and be like, hey, that dude right there lets his players hump each other. Like, that's our coach, baby.
Yeah.
I can't do it. I can't. I'm sorry.
Not a whole lot of pride in Northwestern Wildcat football right now, I wouldn't imagine, man.
But hey, wrap us up, Dustin.
Yeah, I was going to say, man, another episode, brother. I hope everybody has a good week, man. I hope y'all have a good week. Stay safe out there, dude. We'll be back Wednesday, 10 o'clock. Hit that like button on Spotify. Leave us a review. Thank you again to everybody that's new. Thank you to everybody that's been rocking with us from the beginning. We love all of you. Have a good Monday. Have a good Tuesday. We'll see you Wednesday. War Damn Eagle. God bless. And tell somebody you love them, man.
We're out. Love it.